Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am talking about my 23 books I would like to read in 2023. Now, if you watched yesterday's video, I did a recap of my 22 books I wanted to read in 2022 and miserably failed. But I did also mention that I was going to be doing 23 and 2023 a little bit differently. And the main reason for this is that I have a friend that I follow on Instagram. They follow me back. They also watch some of my videos and like we talk through comments, that kind of stuff. They are a self-published author and they're doing a 23 indie books in 2023, and I was like, you know what, that sounds amazing because I do love to read indie and self-published books, and I'm not fully like making myself read a certain amount every year, but trying to read more of those books I thought was a great idea. So I actually think I'm going to be doing 23 different indie authors in 2023 just so that I can sort of diversify that even more, so I'm not just reading like a whole author's backlist because some of these authors are very prolific. So I have a list here of 23 authors. It actually might be 24, we'll see, and I'm not necessarily only going to read these books, but these are the ones that are like on the top of my priority list. And obviously the first one on this list is MJ James, the person who created this idea, the 23 indie books in 2023, because like I said before, they are a self-published author. Their book sounds very intriguing. I just haven't been able to pick it up yet. And I don't know a ton about all of these books. I just know bits and pieces, but their book is called In Between. And the reason I wanted to read it is going to have a main character who is a mother on the autism spectrum, and they're gonna go through that. I think this is also some sort of like fantasy sort of book, and so I'm very, very intrigued, but like the reason that I was intrigued in the first place is mostly because of who the main character is and that representation. And so yes, I obviously want to read this book by this author in 2023, and then everything else is just going to be other indie authors and potentially books that I want to read. So the next author I want to talk about is Richard Amos. I actually have a few different books that I have marked as want to read on Goodreads, but I do actually own one book on ebook that I want to try and get to in 2023, which is going to be Siren's Debt. This is apparently going to have sirens in it, but also pop stars, and I think they go hand in hand. It just sounds very intriguing. The next author I have here is Sarina Bowen. I actually have read one Serena Bowen before, but this here, Lies and Lullabies, is the first book in a trilogy where each book is written by a different author. So she has written this one, obviously, but they're all going to be like rock star romances, which I'm very intrigued about. This one, I believe, follows the guitarist, or maybe it's a bass guitar. I don't know for sure. And is this the one that has... Yes. This is the one that has like a secret pregnancy. It says like the girl and the guy met when he was on tour, and neither of them knew she was going to get pregnant. So I'm very intrigued by this one. The next author I have here is Lee Call. So they have the book The Angel Room. This is a book that I actually picked up at the end of November when Barnes & Noble Tempe was doing a like authors event, author signing. And so it was with local authors. Some of the books were traditionally published, some of the books were indie published, and so this one is going to be YA, basically about a 15-year-old girl who has a demon, like can literally see and talk to this demon that follows her, and she's trying to navigate life with the demon, but also seeing if it's something that she actually needs, trying to figure out her identity, that kind of stuff, and I'm very intrigued by this one. Also, this cover is done by the actual author as well, which I love. The next author I would like to try is Juliet Cross. They are the author of Wolf Gone Wild, the first book in, I believe it's the Stay a Spell series, and this is actually the book I have on ebook, and it's going to be like a paranormal, witchy, fantasy romance sort of thing. I've heard nothing but good things, basically. I've seen a few people read this both on BookTube and Bookstagram, like people that I follow, and so this is one that I would like to give a try in 2023. Another author is H.M. Darling. This is another book that I did pick up during that Tempe event, and this book is Heir of Ashes. It's the first book in, I believe, at least a trilogy that they are working on that is a vampire hunter romance. It is going to be new adult, so I'm very curious to see like how spicy this is going to be, like what we're going to get into with it. But I loved the concept of it because yeah, vampire hunter, forbidden romance, that kind of stuff. I think this is going to be really fun. Another author is going to be Lucy Eden. I do own Bear With Me, although I know she has a lot of other books out. This is actually a novella length one, so I do feel like this is a definite plus. Like, I want to read as many of these authors and books as possible in 2023. This is going to be, I believe, a shifter romance. I think he turns into a bear, something like that. And so yeah, I definitely want to try this one out as well. Another author that I have been meaning to get to is Whitney Hill. I have their book Elemental, which is, I believe, a first book in the series. This is going to be like a paranormal urban fantasy sort of story where I believe our main character is a private investigator, which also has magic, but I believe their magic is elemental, and there is like a ban on elemental magic, and so it goes from there. And so I've been very intrigued for a while, and I just haven't gotten to it, so 2023 should be the year. Another author is Steffanie Holmes. Specifically, they're a Dead and Stormy Night book. This is the first book in a series of reverse harem polyamorous romances, which is all going to be following like our main character, who I believe works either in a library or a bookstore, and book characters come out, and like those are the love interests. And it's going to be very intriguing because I believe like one is Poe's Raven, we have Heathcliff, we have Moriarty. I think they're going to be more of like the not so good characters, but like we'll see if maybe they have like some gray sides to them. The concept, especially because of the fact that like I love books, sounds amazing. Another author is Dani Hoots. I again picked up some books from this author during the Tempe like author signing thing that I went to. I actually have more than just these two books, but I figured these are the two that I think I'm the most intrigued by, and I love the covers. But this one here is City of Kaos, Book 1, Revenge. This is going to be for fans of Firefly, so it is going to have the like space western sort of stuff in it, although I do believe there are some like alien races because our main character is like half human and half Solarian, is that what it's called? Where is it? Syrian. Half human and half Syrian. And then we also have Trapped in Wonderland, which is going to be like an Alice in Wonderland sort of retelling. This one I do believe is young adult because our main character finds like a portal to Wonderland in a locker and then realizes some of her classmates are basically the characters from Alice in Wonderland. Another author that I've actually picked up this book a little while ago and have not gotten to yet is Lauren Jankowski. This is Seer from the Green. This is the first book in a series, I'm pretty sure, about shapeshifters. I believe our main character actually is a shapeshifter, but they also take like crime scene photos, and when the subject of the photos disappears from the photographs, that's where our story takes place. It sounds very, very intriguing, especially with those elements combined, so I definitely need to get to this. Another author is Isabel Jordan. I have semi-charmed by them that I actually picked up this year and haven't gotten to quite yet. This is again going to be like a paranormal urban fantasy sort of story. I feel like those are the ones that I'm really, really drawn to. One of our characters is going to be a psychic and one is going to be a paranormal private investigator. I don't know what else, but I'm assuming they're going to go and solve some stuff. Another indie author that I've definitely read some books before from, but I want to read more, is going to be Elise Kova. I have the gorgeous editions of their entire Heir Awakens series. This was done by, I believe, the Bookish Box, and so yeah, this is book 1, Heir Awakens. I have been reading the spin-off series of this, which is not like nearly connected as much as you think it would be. There's like hints and pieces, cameos, that kind of stuff in that series, but because I love that one so much, I know I need to read this. I also have some friends on BookTube and stuff that have read this and really enjoyed it, and when you have such gorgeous editions of self-published indie books, like, I need to read it. This is going to be a fantasy series that has elemental magic. I believe our main character potentially has air magic. Another author is going to be Jackie Lau. I actually have a couple different books by her. I have Her Big City Neighbor and Pregnant by the Playboy. I read a Christmas novella by her a couple years ago and really enjoyed that one. So these are going to be more full-length novels by her, but they are going to be contemporary romance. I don't know much else about them, so I don't know which one I'm going to pick either, but I do want to read more by this author. Another author is Cole McCade. I have definitely read some books by Cole McCade. So far only 2, but I am in the middle of the Criminal Intentions series by them. I gave book 1, I think, 4.5 stars. I gave book 2 5 stars, and I definitely want to continue. This is a series that is sort of like a crime procedural TV show where each episode is going to follow a different case, but I think there is an overarching plot as well. And we're following 2 people of color detectives who have been paired together, and they're solving crimes. I absolutely love the dynamic between them. There is going to be romance between them eventually, but because it is set up like a TV show, we're slowly getting that sort of stuff built over multiple books. So we'll see when that happens, but I also just love the writing style, and so I definitely need to read more by this author. Another author is C.J. Merwild. They wrote The Nishan Smile, which I believe actually did come out this year in 2022. I had to get a replacement copy from Fake Crate, which means it just got pushed back on my TBR. This is quite a chunker. It's going to be a very, very dark fantasy where it starts with characters from when they're younger going up into adulthood. I believe there is some romance. It's very LGBTQ, but it's going to be very, very dark. Lots of trigger warnings. I don't even know fully everything about it, but I've been following this author for a while because they're actually an artist as well. They did all the art for this. They've been featured in book boxes and stuff, and so when they had a book come out, I was super, super intrigued, and I just haven't read it yet. Then I have Devney Perry. I have not read anything from Devney Perry, but this is like the second book in this series, the Hush Note series, which Sarina Bowen, I showed the book earlier. This is Riffs and Refrains. It is going to follow the female drummer from the band, and again, I'm very, very intrigued about this because it is like a rock star romance. Another author is Lauren Sefchik. They have The Key of Arcandus, book 1. This is their debut. I got this at the Tempe Barnes & Noble event. It's going to be a very epic sort of fantasy about a character who I believe has been framed for something going on. I believe she gets banished and has to sort of go on a journey to figure out how to prove her innocence. The author did also mention that there is like a library in here or books, that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I'm sold. The next author is Shonna Slayton. I actually have a couple books here because I wasn't entirely too sure which one I wanted to try. All of their books are like semi-retellings of fairy tales or like set in the future of the fairy tales, that kind of thing. And so they have like Cinderella and Snow White, but I picked up Beauty's Rose and The Little Mermaid's Voice because these are the retellings and things that I definitely gravitate towards. Beauty's Rose does seem to be more of a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, whereas The Little Mermaid's Voice seems to be set in the future of the Little Mermaid story. And so I don't know which one I'm going to pick first, but I definitely want to try these out and this author out in 2023. Another author is one that I have read some stuff from before, which is Kelly St. Clair. I'm actually currently in the middle of the Tainted Accords series, so if I can in 2023, I would like to continue with book 3, which is Fantasy of Fire. I've really enjoyed this one. It's a fantasy world where we have like 2 worlds sort of together. One is fire, one is ice, and it's like sort of political, which I don't always enjoy, but I've really been enjoying this one. It is fantasy romance as well. It's actually her first series, and she's written some other stuff since then, but I think I want to continue with this series, although I do also have the first book of her magical dating agency series. The first book is called Love and Curse Making. I love the cover and I love the idea of this, so this one is also a possibility. Then I also have Jenn Windrow. This one is Evil's Unlikely Assassin, although I think I have one other one from her as well. This is going to be some sort of like vampire hunter. I think she also hunts werewolves and stuff like that too. Romance though, and I'm very excited for this one. I just haven't picked it up, but I definitely need to read from this author. And then I have the third book in the Hush Note series. This is by Rebecca Yarros. This is Muses and Melodies, and this is either going to be another guitarist or a bass guitarist. I don't fully know, but again, rock star romances, I definitely need to read it. And finally, I have Mariana Zapata. I have definitely read books by Mariana Zapata, although not in the last couple years for some reason. I just haven't really picked them up and had time to read them because they are sometimes chunkers, but she's like the queen of slow burn romance, and I want to read more. I think from Lukov with Love is one of the top ones on my list, although one of her most recent, All Roads Lead Here, I think is the title, is also a good contender. Like, I just really want to try more Mariana Zapata. And so, yeah, that should be 23 different indie authors, including MJ James, that I want to try and read in 2023. This might not be a super conclusive list because there are probably other indie authors I want to read as well, but these are the ones that are so far at the top of my list, and I'm at least going to be attempting 23 books by 23 different indie authors in 2023. I would like you guys to join as well. I know MJ James has actually created like Instagram story templates and stuff like that as well that you can use, which I will be using. And I'm just so excited for this idea because I do read indie books throughout the year, but I want to be a little bit more accountable. Like, I want to broaden my horizons as much as possible. So yeah, if you guys like this video, give a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I'm currently doing the 12 days of Bookmas, so I do have a new video that'll be up tomorrow, and I will see you then. Bye!
Bye!